What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to A-MAY-Zing Station, your number station for anything animation, including TV and movies. I am your host, Jackson Small. Welcome back to the A-MAY-Zing world of Gumball. Welcome to Season 1, Episodes 7 and 8. Let's start with Episode 7, The Quest. So, in this episode, after Tobias ends up dropping Anais's toy out the bus window, Gumball and Darwin try to get it back, but through a bunch of insinuating circumstances, it ends up in the hands of Tina, the giant T-Rex of the school. So, Gumball and Darwin have to find a way to try and get this thing back without, getting eaten. This episode is a lot of fun. It starts out a little bit slow, but once it gets to Tina getting the toy, and Gumball and Darwin having to try to find ways to get it, that's when it gets really fun. And I do have 3 highlights for the episode, but one I will mention real quick that's not a highlight is when Gumball and Darwin tried to fake Anais with a robotic version of her plush donkey pull toy, that way they didn't have to try to get it back from Tina because, they're afraid for their lives. I thought that part was pretty funny. Not quite funny enough to be a highlight, but still pretty funny. As for the actual highlights, though, first one is Anais's aggro moment, the second that Tobias drops Daisy, the name that Anais gave to the plush, out the bus window. And she immediately gets extremely aggro, or borderline demonic, for a second, when Gumball and Darwin tried to say, no, they can't get it. And of course, they immediately change their tune, as soon as she has that moment. Then, highlight number 2 is when Anais and Gumball try to coax each other into going to get Daisy with puppy dog eyes. And this has been a running gag throughout the entire episode. There's a part in the beginning where Anais coaxes Gumball into, threatening Tobias to give back the toy unless he wants some kind of, wrath of some sort. He just goes on and on about a ramble of some sort. And then, right after they fail to trick Anais with a robot one, Gumball and Anais keep talking over and over with high-pitched voices and puppy dog eyes to try to coax the other into going. And and one of Gumball's lines here was especially funny. It's like, but I'm your big brother, and I can't handle a T-Rex, otherwise I'll get destroyed. But after a lot of back and forth with that, Gumball ends up losing. And then the final highlight is the entire final act in the junkyard. The whole thing's a lot of fun, a lot happens. They get the toy back successfully, only for one of them to end up pulling the pull string and making it talk, which echoes off the walls, and then Tina chases them all around the junkyard. That is until Anais is able to pin Tina down with a crane arm claw thing. And after hearing about how the toy makes it easier for Tina to sleep because she's afraid of the dark, Anais decides to let Tina keep it. But then Tina tells them they need to run because her dad eats trespassers, and the episode ends with the dad showing up right at the very end. And the dad is 2 times bigger than Tina is, so yeah. In other words, they better start running. So, yeah, pretty great episode. Again, very simple, but I'm starting to think that this is part of the show's motif. Just simple premises, trying to do as much as they can with it. And that is why its final verdict is going to be a 8 out of 10. Great episode. Let's go ahead and move on to the spoon. Also, I forgot to say this straight up front. Please excuse my voice being a little raspy today. I've done a lot of recording, all throughout the day. So, even if my voice is kind of shot, I still want to get these done. So, I apologize for that. Next review should be a lot better. Anyway, speaking of episodes with simple premises, now we have this one, The Spoon. Another one of my favorites of the season. This episode is absolutely hilarious for multiple reasons. So, the premise is extremely simple. Gumball and Darwin are told by their dad to get their mom a last-minute last minute birthday gift the from the gas station down the road, because he naturally forgot about her birthday completely. And then as soon as Gumball and Darwin get there, they end up being right in the middle of a robbery as Sal D. Thumb, at least I believe that's its name, a literal fingerprint, like a literal thumbprint as a villain, as a character, ends up tying up Larry, who is also the cash register here. Well, cashier here. Sorry, I can't talk today. Cashier is also the cashier here at the gas station, hinting at what his character actually is. But that's for another episode. So, through a bunch of wacky circumstances, Gumball and Darwin get tricked by Saudi Thumbs into helping him loot the store. That is until Nicole catches on to the fact that Richard did send them to the gas station alone in the middle of the night. Yeah, real smart. And as soon as they walk in, they end up getting captured as well because they see Larry tied up. And it just goes on and on from there until Gumball and Darwin finally realize that they're being duped. And the rest of the episode is just them both running away from and trying to stop Saudi Thumbs from completing their task. Saying anything more would spoil the episode, because this is another one that I think definitely needs to be seen with a completely fresh perspective. So, highlights. First one, Gumball and Darwin accidentally stealing everything for Sal Left Thumb, not Sal Dave Thumb. Sorry. You can tell I'm a mess today. And they are tricked because Sal Left Thumb tells them that he is there under the guise of charity. So they go to get things for charity from the store for bald people. You can imagine how it goes from there. Like, just this expression alone should tell you everything about why this part is hilarious. And speaking of hilarious, highlight number 2 is Nicole and Richard's immediate reaction to seeing Larry tied up in the store. They use the dot eyes. I don't know why, but this cracks me up every time it's used in animation. It cracks me up in Demon Slayer, and it cracks me up here. It's really, really funny. And then, final highlight, the entire chase on the helium tank in the store. Again, this show is really, really good with chase scenes. Okay, final verdict for this episode is a high and well-deserved 9 out of 10. Really enjoy this one of my favorites of the season, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. Okay, and that's going to do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, excuse me for my voice being as it is, but I promise you, next time it should be back to normal. So, thanks for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this almost every single day, and feel free to hit the hype button to get this higher up in the algorithm if you so desire. You don't have to. It would just help the channel out. And leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below on the episode, or either of these episodes, or just your overall thoughts, just anything you want to talk about that's related to the show. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time for the pressure and the painting. Peace.